Netflix didn't kill Blockbuster. In 2006, Blockbuster was winning, 2 million online subscribers, Netflix stock down 75%, Reed Hastings panicking. Then a billionaire named Icahn walked into Blockbuster's boardroom. And everything died. Here's the story you've been told. Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph walk into Blockbuster headquarters, pitch Netflix for $50 million, and get laughed at by a CEO too blind to see the future. It's a perfect Silicon Valley parable, the arrogant giant who missed the revolution. But that story is a lie. Not because the meeting didn't happen. It did. But because the man who actually killed Blockbuster wasn't even in that room. He was watching from Wall Street, waiting for his moment. First, you need to understand how desperate Netflix actually was in 2000. This wasn't a confident tech giant making a power move. Netflix was bleeding money on nearly every single subscriber. They just slashed a third of their staff, 40 people walked out the door in one brutal afternoon. The $50 million asking price wasn't ambition. It was a lifeline. Hastings needed Blockbuster to say yes. And what happened next nearly destroyed him. The meeting itself lasts barely 45 minutes inside Blockbuster's Dallas headquarters. Hastings proposes a deal, Netflix handles online, Blockbuster keeps its stores, and together they dominate home entertainment. Blockbuster CEO John Antioco listens politely. His CFO reportedly struggles to keep a straight face. $50 million for a company shipping DVDs in paper envelopes? The answer is no. But here's the part nobody tells you, Antioco wasn't stupid. He was just early. Because John Antioco did something that completely contradicts the legend. He went home after that meeting, studied the numbers, and quietly began to understand exactly what Netflix represented. Not a joke. Not a fad. A fundamental shift in how people would consume entertainment. By 2004, Antioco launches Blockbuster Online, a direct assault on Netflix's core business. And it works. It works so well, in fact, that it nearly puts Netflix in the ground. Blockbuster Online grows to 2 million subscribers in just over a year. Customers are abandoning Netflix in waves because Blockbuster offers something Netflix simply cannot: return your online rental to any store and grab a free in-store rental on the spot. It's a killer feature. Netflix has no answer for it. Their stock plunges 75%. Reed Hastings privately tells his board that Blockbuster is the single greatest existential threat to their survival. So what went wrong? Enter Icahn. Billionaire. Corporate raider. A man whose entire philosophy can be reduced to one sentence: extract maximum value from a company right now and let somebody else worry about tomorrow. In 2005, Icahn looks at Blockbuster and sees what he always sees. A company spending too much money on the future instead of paying him today. Antioco is pouring hundreds of millions into the digital strategy. He's eliminating late fees to compete with Netflix, which costs Blockbuster $200 million in annual revenue. To Icahn, this is insanity. He doesn't care that it's working. He doesn't care that Netflix is hemorrhaging customers. He cares about one thing: this quarter's profits. And he has a plan to get them. Icahn launches a proxy war. He buys up Blockbuster shares and rallies other shareholders behind a simple message: the current CEO is wasting your money on some digital fantasy when he should be maximizing profits from 9,000 stores. It's a seductive argument if you don't think past next Tuesday. And enough shareholders don't think past next Tuesday. By 2005, Icahn successfully stacks the Blockbuster board with his own people. He now controls the company's direction. And the very first thing he targets is John Antioco's compensation. The message is clear: fall in line, or we will make your life unbearable. What happens next is a corporate tragedy in slow motion. The Icahn-controlled board claws back Antioco's bonus. They cut his total compensation package to shreds. They question every dollar spent on the online division. Every board meeting becomes a battle. Antioco fights for the strategy he knows is working, the numbers prove it. Blockbuster Online is growing. Netflix is scared. But Icahn's board doesn't want growth. They want dividends. They want cost cuts. They want a CEO who'll squeeze every last penny out of those physical stores and hand it to shareholders. Antioco refuses to be that CEO. So they find someone who will. In 2007, John Antioco is effectively forced out. The man who saw the digital future, built a platform that was beating Netflix at its own game, and had Blockbuster on the path to survival. His replacement? Jim Keyes. A former 7-Eleven executive. A man whose expertise is selling Slurpees and gas station hot dogs. Keyes has zero experience in the entertainment industry. Zero understanding of digital distribution. And almost immediately, he makes his philosophy crystal clear with a statement that will echo through business history as one of the most catastrophic misjudgments ever uttered by a sitting CEO. Jim Keyes stands before the press and declares that Netflix is not a real competitor. Blockbuster, he says, is a retail brand. The future isn't online, it's in the stores. He immediately slashes the budget for Blockbuster Online. Guts the team. Kills the momentum that took years and hundreds of millions of dollars to build. 2 million subscribers. Abandoned. The one weapon that had Netflix on its knees. Thrown away to save money for the quarterly report. In boardrooms across Manhattan, Carl Icahn's people nod approvingly. The bleeding has stopped. The numbers look better. But something far worse has just begun. Within 3 years of Jim Keyes taking over, Blockbuster files for bankruptcy. 9,000 stores. 60,000 employees. A brand worth billions. Gone. Not because a CEO laughed in a meeting in 2000. Because a billionaire investor couldn't see past his next dividend check. And here's the detail that makes this story almost unbearable. John Antioco's denied severance package, the money the Icahn-controlled board refused to pay him, was roughly $54 million. Almost exactly what Netflix had asked for in that Dallas meeting. Think about that number for a moment. $50 million to buy Netflix in 2000. $54 million denied to the one man who was actually beating Netflix in 2007. The same amount of money bookends the entire tragedy. Blockbuster had 2 chances. One to absorb the threat before it grew. Another to outcompete it head-to-head. Both times, the deciding factor wasn't technology. It wasn't the market. It wasn't consumer behavior. It was money. The first time, they wouldn't spend it. The second time, a billionaire made sure they couldn't. 2 moments. Same price tag. Both fatal. Today, Netflix is worth over $400 billion. Reed Hastings built an entertainment empire that changed how every human on Earth consumes content. And in Bend, Oregon, the last Blockbuster store still stands, a nostalgic tourist attraction where people take selfies next to the yellow and blue sign. They laugh about it. The company that was too dumb to see the future. But now you know the truth. Blockbuster did see the future. One man saw it clearly and built the machine to fight for it. And another man, a man who never watched a movie when he could watch a stock ticker, tore that machine apart for scrap. The meeting in Dallas didn't kill Blockbuster. That's just the story we tell because it's simple and satisfying. The real killer wore a suit on Wall Street and measured everything in quarters, never in years. Blockbuster didn't lose to Netflix. It was sacrificed by the people who owned it. And if that doesn't change how you think about every company you trust today, it should.